Alright, coming back out in the garage, and I already have a video me taking me breaking down the heads, taking the valves out, cleaning them up. So I'm not going to show breaking them down, but today pretty much just going to go over, or going to be swapping out the springs. So I couldn't use the old heads that came on the 4.8, so I'm going to use the extra set I have laying around. So I'm pretty much going to have to do the same process. Take the old springs out, then have the new springs in there. So have the new springs, and then new valve seals also. So I'll throw it on a time lapse of me breaking these down again, and then swap out the springs and the valve seals and go from there. But I did get a couple new tools, since the one my buddy made me. Saw some better days, but it was able to do the first set of heads, so it's not going to be able to put them back on. So I went ahead and ordered this one originally, but it wasn't showing up in time, so I canceled the order, and it still showed up. And then I just went ahead and ordered this one after I canceled this one. So this one's pretty much free. I'm going to try it out, see how it goes. And if it doesn't go too well, I have this one for backup. So there you guys on time lapse, and I'll replace all this stuff. Hopefully it goes smoothly. This one might clean up this a little bit once I get the valves out. This one I'll definitely need to clean up a little bit, or no, it's actually not too bad. But I'll give them a extra wipe down, clean them up, and then I'm not sure if I'm gonna clean these valves or just the other ones already cleaned up in there. I have my lapper tool, a little bit of the compound, so I will lap the valves when I reinstall them. But it's enough talking. There you guys on time lapse. Hopefully this will be a shorter video, so yeah, let me get to it. Alright, so got these all cleaned up in here a little bit. I didn't want to go too much into there and damaging things, so just cleaned up all the caked up carbon. I know if I wanted to, I could send them out, have them poured in and polished, but I'm not too worried about that. Maybe on the next motor. But as far as this one goes, I think I am just going to use the valves that I already took off and freshened up a little bit. But I've never done it before, so just seating the valves pretty much, or lapping them. So I have the lapping tool, some of the compound, and I guess it comes in like, well, it's all the same, but you could change the grit on it a little bit by just adding a little bit of water. So I haven't done it before, so I'll probably just throw you guys on the time lapse. Might even cut on the TV and look up a video or two before I start. Make sure I'm not screwing anything up. But I think it's pretty simple. You just get the tool, put a little compound on the back side of the valves. You know, have the tool, put it down there, and just rotate it back and forth. So in theory, it's not that bad. But we'll see how it goes once I actually start doing it. Once I do lap them, I'll be sure to keep all of them marked on where they'll go, and then once that's all done, just put it all back together, put the valve seals back in there, and then put the valves in all the way. So to keep me from flipping it back and forth, I'm just gonna lap them all, and then I'll end up putting them in place. And I believe, not sure how I'm gonna do it. Once I get them all in place, might flip it all over, just put a rag in there or something to hold them in place, and then flip them over. I'll probably oil the valve stems a little bit, and I believe the valve seals go on dry. So I'm gonna like make a tool for it, but people just say just use a socket. So probably find the right size socket, and then when it comes time to putting those on, I'll just tap them down into place and put the new springs on, and the little locks, or whatever you want to call them, holding tabs, I'll get all those on, and hopefully I don't screw it up, but who knows. I did get the compressor out. I might try to blow this out a little bit more, clean it up, but for the most part, just giving it a shot. So wish me luck. This one's still a little oily inside, so I might clean that up before I start anything. But in theory, it's not a hard process, but we'll see how it goes. Alright, so I just watched a quick video, and they actually had the valve seals already in there before they put the valves through to install them all the way. So I threw on this one, and they're pretty easy to install. Just I did it dry, I didn't lube it up or anything. From what I read online, you want to install them dry. I could be wrong, but that's how I'm gonna do it. So I'll clean up this one a little bit, get some of this oil off. But pretty much took the valve seal. And I know some places say they come with two different ones, one for the intake, one for the exhaust, but this one, they look all the same, so let's throw them on there. And I took, I guess that's 13/16. It fit pretty good around the base, so took one of those and just gave it a few taps with the mallet to get them nice and flush and seated on there. So that's how I did it. I'll do the same thing for this one, but these are on there. But I'll throw it on this one, and then I'll get to lapping. So yeah, that valve grinding compound. The video I watched, they just used it right out of here. Just put it along the valve, and then, like I said, take the tool and rock it back and forth. Then they turned it. They turned it a few times just to get it in a different position, but just rocked it back and forth until the grinding sound became quiet. Then it was done. So then you just wipe off all the grinding compound, and then it'll be ready. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start on one. I think I'm going to do the intake and exhaust on one, get those seated, and then I'll come put the springs back on, and the cap, and I guess they call those keepers. So I'll put all those on. So I'll just do one port at a time, and we'll go from there. Like I said, I'll throw it on a time lapse. It's my first time doing it, so I'll talk you guys through how I'm gonna do it. But when I'm doing it, I'll throw you guys on time lapse. If I do anything that seems off or anything, I'll cut you guys back on and actually go over explaining it. But for the most part, I think I explained how I'm gonna do it. Once it's finished, cut you guys back on and let you guys know how it went. Alright, so I know that was all time lapse, but you guys kind of get the point. Let's say you throw the new valve in there, put the grinding compound on the backside of the valve, then you take the lapping tools. I found that that one worked pretty good, but on the smaller one, the larger one on the smaller one, I found worked the best. I know with had an overhang from the workbench, so the valve could clear and not pushing out. Keep that in mind on where you're working. But yeah, just did everything in reverse. Put the valve in. The valve seals were already in. So once you put the valve in, flip it over. You want something like a towel or a rag or something that keeps the valve in place when you go to put the springs and the keepers on. So it's pretty much just did everything in reverse. Put the spring on, and then I guess the hat or the top of it. Then you want to run this back down, and on the keepers, I'm not sure how well that's going to pick up, but you see one side is narrower than the other. I put the narrow side in first, and then the larger side will sit on top. But you want to make sure the spring is down enough to get these both in there, and then once you back it back out, the keepers will just set in place, and that's it. So these are the new springs on there. Use the same seats, or I don't even know what you call them. I'll probably put in there. I'm gonna call them the hat, to the spring, and then the keepers. So put all those in, and then all the valves are in. So I'm gonna tackle this other side. I'll probably throw it back on the time lapse. If you want to watch that, go ahead. If not, I'm gonna throw it in there anyway. But this side should go a little bit smoother. And with this, with the grinding compound, when you're twisting it, you want to listen, because when you first start twisting it, it's going to make it like a grinding sound, and you can hear it. And then once this wears down, it'll get a little bit quieter. Then you're going to do it a few more times. And I found out, well, the way I did it, I saw it in the video. Once you start twisting a few times, lift the valve out, turn it, maybe a quarter turn, a half turn, push it back in, start doing it again. That's how I did it. And once it gets quiet, just pull the valve out, wipe it clean, and then I'll put them back in and do the springs and everything back on. But that's how I did it. I'm not an engine guy. I'm not a painter. I just do a little bit of everything. It's not a show car. It's not a race car. It's going to be a fun street car. I don't master anything. I just do a little bit of everything. So if something's not right, like I said, paint and body, I'll give it to those guys. Engine builders, give it to those guys. Everybody specializes in one thing. I just do a little bit of everything. So don't expect anything to be 100%, but I am taking my time with this build. Putting in a little bit more effort than I did with the Elco. So I don't know, once I finish with the Monty, aka Mona Lisa, I might go back to Leah, and I don't know, it's like on version 5, 6, or 7. It's had 3 different motors, 3 different transmissions, 3 different paint jobs. So I guess this will be version 4 if I start messing with it again. But maybe down the line, I might freshen up the Elco, or I might grab another block and actually build a complete motor. So who knows? But for now, I'm just doing some basic stuff anybody can do. Like I always say, if there's something I haven't done that you guys want to see, and pay more attention to when I get to it, just let me know, or just throw it in the comments, and when I get to it, I'll pay a little bit more attention to it. But for now, I'm gonna finish up these heads, And eventually, by the time I finish this, I'll order the head gaskets, the head bolts, and hopefully get the tool to pull the balancer and throw the cam in. So it's moving right along. It's December, so pretty much by the end of December, I want to get everything knocked out of the way as far as the motor goes, get it all put back together, heads on, the accessory brackets on, and everything. Well, everything painted might be a little stretch because of the weather, but I think we might be able to pull it out. Like the valve covers, I'm still debating if I want to go red or black with them. Same thing with, of course, I'll clean this up. Debating if I want to go red or go black or keep it the metal color. I think I have that cast coat aluminum. But you see, I did throw the engine mounts on, so those look good on there. Debating if I want this black or that cast coat aluminum color, so I don't want it to copy the Elco with all the red. So I know the intake will be black. I'm not sure if I want to do the valve colors the valve covers on the Monty, black or red. Same thing with, like I said, this bracket and maybe the water pump. Like I said, I'm still trying to figure that out, but that'll come at a later date. Let me finish up these and call it a day.